If they're acting indifferent towards you, it's not what it seems. Now, don't get me wrong, if the breakup was, like 10 years ago or something, then yeah, they might be acting indifferent towards you because they've genuinely moved on or something. But if this is in any way recent, a year or less, and they're acting indifferent towards you, then it's a cover-up. They're trying to mask how they actually feel. They're trying to hide how they're actually feeling. There could be a few reasons for this, but because they're trying to convince you they've moved on, maybe they want to see how you respond if they present this image of someone who's moving on. They want to see if you panic. They want to see if you lose it, if you start crawling over the illustrious broken shards of glass to be with them. Because, of course, as we talked about in the last video, they might miss you themselves. And they don't want to be alone in that. Because then that means something scary to them. It means they made a mistake and they don't know how to walk it back, and they painted themselves into a corner and there's no coming back from it. And so they might try to do things to trigger your insecurity to see how you'll respond. It could also be a cover-up as well, too. It could be a cover-up for the fact that they don't want to confront their own feelings about their relationship with you. They would love to have just moved on themselves, too. They would love it. It would be so easy. It would be so easy if they could just turn off their feelings. What a lot of people do is they'll do things backwards. They'll do things the wrong way. They'll say to themselves, okay, hey, I don't like feeling down in the dumps about my breakup. I want to be in a place where I feel better. I want to be in a place where I'm over this. Well, what would I do if I was over this? I'd probably act like I didn't care. I'd probably be in a relationship with someone else. I'd probably be the happiest person in the world. But you can obviously see the logical fallacy in all of this, right? It's like, hey, if I don't like being out of shape, what would I do if I was in shape? Well, if I was in shape, I might consider signing up to run a marathon. So great, just because I run a marathon, does that mean that I'm suddenly in shape? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. They're probably hiding how they really feel. People realistically can't just turn their emotions off. Even your ex can't turn their emotions off. I know you. I know your ex. They're a cold, calculated, emotionless person, practically a robot, an android, a cyborg. Trust me, I've heard from people who have had exes and partners like that. And not even they can turn their emotions off as if nothing had happened. I remember I was talking to this woman a few years ago, and she said her ex was a real piece of work. He had no feelings, never let anyone in. I told her, hey, it's okay. They're all like that. He probably just has really thick armor, but when you get through the armor, he's probably a really sweet guy. It's always that way. And she said, maybe, okay. But I don't know if any of the stuff you're going to do is going to work. So, we did the things that we did. And, he put up his usual armor for a little while. But we had her persist in the strategies, and eventually she did get through the armor. And eventually he did admit that he couldn't stop thinking about her. He couldn't stop loving her. In fact, that's even what he said when they got back together. He said, thank you for making it so hard to forget you. Thank you for not letting me just slip away. Let me tell you, there's no way he would have said that if she just did the cut and dry, no contact rule like what everyone else tells you to do until he comes crawling back over broken shards of glass on his hands and knees. If they are acting indifferent, it's because they're trying to convince themselves that they're in a better place than they are. It's because they're trying to convince you that they're moving on because maybe they want to get a rise out of you, because maybe deep down, subconsciously, they know that they're not in a great place, and they want to see you not in a great place, because then they're not going to feel all alone in this. Projection, you know what I'm saying? They might put on this act, and don't be like all the other people out there. I mean, I know you're smart. You listen to this channel, listen to me. You know that just because they try to put out an appearance of something doesn't mean it's true. You know that just because they try to use smoke and mirrors to make it seem like their new rebound is the best person in the world, that they're definitely getting married, they're going to have 10 million babies and all that sort of stuff, it's not true. You know that. It's not that they're doing this intentionally, most likely. They're mostly just doing this on a deeply unconscious level because, that's how most of us operate. We don't really know half of the time why we do what we do. We just feel as if we need to do it. So they're acting indifferently, not because it's some sort of calculated mind game they're trying to play with you, probably, unless they're a horrible narcissist or something like that. Chances are they're doing this because they're either trying to get a response out of you so that they know where you are, because they don't want to feel alone in all of this themselves. So they're just trying to, get a read on how you're feeling and what you're going through. And then the other possibility here is that they are trying to mask how they feel because it's too hard for them to confront the possibility that, they still are a wreck over the breakup. I've seen this a lot. I mean, it's actually something I'm kind of going through in a certain sense with, someone close in the family, having to watch them live in denial. When you have this role online as a sort of personality, the people closest to you in your life don't see you that way at all. My mom, when she was alive, never really saw me as like a relationship expert or anything. She just saw me as her, goofball son. My friends that I've known for ages, since before I did all this stuff, don't see me as some sort of, relationship expert or anything. They just see me as a dork from high school. It's kind of frustrating because oftentimes you can help these people with their own challenges in life, but they're just like not willing to accept it. And so you just kind of have to let them live their own life at a certain point. You can take this and you can understand that they're going through their own stuff. They're not really indifferent. They're probably hurting. And what can you do to make this easier? What can you do to help move things forward between the two of you? Okay, if they're not in a great place, if they're trying to get a rise out of you, one thing you can do is you don't want to play that game. You don't want to play the game of, okay, hey, I see you acting indifferent. I'm going to panic and beg and plead or something, which feeds into your sense of reassurance and allows you to, keep pulling away, which makes me chase more, which makes you pull away more, which makes you chase more in some ridiculous game of cat and mouse. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is you just want to level the field, say, hey, we're not going to do that. Instead, let's just get real and talk about things. That way, what you're doing is actually something really great. What you're doing is you're inviting them into a new dynamic where both of you can just drop all these screwball games that you might be playing and just say, hey, let's just get real with one another. Because what you're going to do, and this is actually a way that you can test them, believe it or not. You can test them with this. What you're going to do is you're going to find out if they have it in them to drop all the games and for them to just say, hey, yeah, you're right. Let's actually knock it off. Let's have a real meaningful connection with one another here. And let's just have good communication. Because chances are, if you want a great relationship with them or anybody, it's probably going to revolve around having good communication and, a couple other important things for you. But good communication is, universally seen as something to strive for in a relationship. And so you're basically saying, hey, what if we did have good communication? Is this something that you can strive towards yourself? Because if it is, then we can play ball here. Let's see where this takes us. But if it's not, why don't you stop wasting my time? Let's actually work on moving on here. And then we can take our lives where we need to take them. That's great. It's the same team conversation. And then if they're going through a rough time themselves as well too, and they're in denial about it, having the same team conversation as well too is going to invite them into a new dynamic as well, where they can stop pretending they don't care. You can both stop pretending that you don't care about each other. You can actually start connecting with one another again. They won't feel as if they need to be all heartbroken and everything, because they can actually start spending time with you and interacting with you, getting past the past and building a new future together. It's really a win-win all around. So what I want you to do next is I want you to check out this video right over here about how to get back together with your ex without using the no contact rule. It's going to go over one of the core strategies that we would typically recommend that most clients follow. Anyway, that being said, thanks so much. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time.